welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us. Tammy, before we get started, did you know that we now have sponsors?
Is that what you're springing on me right now? Go for it. Go for it, Eddie. What do you mean, Eddie?
This week, I'd like to shout out the Kissing Game and Juicy's Lip Balm. They deliver the juiciest kisses with Juicy's Lip Balm.
So I need to get some of that lip balm?
You do. And it's quite fitting this week, Tammy, because we are discussing the final chapter of the Kissing Booth with the Kissing Booth saga with the Kissing Booth 3. Instead of making her summer before college the best hot girl summer ever, Elle Evans spends the summer completing items on a childhood bucket list with her forever bestie Lee. In between the bucket list and spending time with boyfriend Noah, she also has a very big decision to make. Which college and therefore which brother she will ultimately choose. Will it be Berkeley with Lee or Harvard with Noah? What did you think about the final chapter in this saga?
It surprised me. I did not think I would like it as much as I ended up liking it. Yeah, it was definitely surprising. I won't say it was like amazing, but I will say I believe it was better than the second one.
I concur. It was. I agree with you. It surprised me. Like when I saw it, I forgot it was coming out. So I kind of saw it when I was flipping through Netflix one night, and I'm like, oh crap, it's out. And then I was like, I'm gonna watch it. But then I was like, no, I gotta watch it for the show. So it was one of those where I thought I just had flashbacks to the second one. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm only gonna watch it once. So I don't want to have to turn it on again. But I was really surprised about it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was definitely much better than the second one. And I felt like they heard us, like they listened to our review or the episode where we reviewed the second Kissing Booth, and they addressed a lot of our concerns. So, am I alone in that?
I don't remember what our concerns were.
You just kind of bluffed it all out?
Yeah, like, I mean, the reason why I ended up watching Kissing Booth 3 was because we were doing this episode. I even tried to get it off the list, and Eddie told me no, y'all, so I had to go through and watch it. I don't remember what necessarily the concerns were. I do know, like, one thing that I think really, really stuck was I felt like Lee and Elle was just as selfish as they've always been. Like, I didn't see any growth in their selfishness, like thinking more of themselves than thinking of anyone else, really. And then, like, at the very, very end, like, they would just address it in one scene, and it's like, oh, look, they're amazing now. And I'm just like, but they've been selfish for like the last 2 hours. But yeah, other than that, like, I guess it would address, if I can remember. I don't know. What were some of our concerns?
Well, before, just because you kind of threw me under the bus, I left it on the list because I was like, nah, we need material.
So much more now. Like, things have come out that we could have done better.
Yeah, but at the time the calendar was looking kind of weak, and I was like, nah, we need material. But I think one of our concerns was the selfishness, which they still had a long way to go. But just how toxic their relationship came across in the second one. Like, and I did actually go back and rewatch the second one just because to kind of refresh the memory for the third one. And I remember, okay, so just that we said that she and Lee actually had the most toxic relationship, just their codependency thing. We weren't really crazy about that. Also, the major concern was how everything was either about Lee or Noah, and very little of it was about her. And I'm glad someone actually pointed that out in this movie and made sure that she finally took a stand for herself and started making decisions for herself and not based on what Lee or Noah would want her to do.
I agree.
So, but the story was still a little contrived. And after seeing the ending, I kind of was like, I I liked it better, and I get why they did it, but some of the characters, like, you see, it seemed like they just kind of put them in, even though it was filmed back to back with the second one. It kind of seems like they were just there because they were popular characters in the second one, or they were just introduced in the second one. Like, Noah's version of Elle, his best friend. What was her name? I want to call her Hannah for some reason, but um, the
Oh, I
British,
forgot.
yeah. See, that's saying something.
The black
Um,
girl.
yeah, the British chick. It
Mm-hmm.
seemed like her storyline in this one was like, why are you here? Like, you're okay, your parents are getting divorced, but it's like, I don't know, really, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but really, she was just a side piece. Like, what purpose did she serve? And the same thing for Marcos. It's like, what purpose did they serve? I didn't understand. Like,
Well, they
the
dropped the ball on that. I think it was Elle and Noah was like supposed to be endgame, but at the end, like I'm going to acknowledge the fact that Noah and the British chick, and then Marcos and Elle had more of a fit. Like I felt like throughout the whole thing, it was just because it was Noah, Elle, and Lee. But you can see the chemistry change, right? Between Elle and Noah. And then my thought process was, is it because they were dating in the first one? You slowly saw it change in the second one because they had broken
broke up.
up. And in
Yeah.
the third one, you can definitely see that they were not in it. Did you see any kissing scenes between them in the third one?
I think there were very few.
Like I don't remember them actually kissing each other. Like maybe like on the side or something, but actual full on lips. I do not remember seeing one scene where they actually kissed each other. And if they did, it must have been very brief.
Yeah, like, and I wrote that in my notes that, and I know he said something about it a little bit, not them breaking up, but just the series. Jacob Elordi seemed so over it in the third one, like so over it.
They all
Um,
they all did because I think that is her name Joey King?
mhm.
I think Joey King phoned it in as well. Like her acting was horrible in this. Like she phoned it in. I don't think this was not her best.
Yeah. So, I can agree with that too. Yeah, but and I asked myself the same questions about their chemistry. Was it because the first one was young love and they were actually in love and they were dating and it was cool, and then the second one was, they was it because they broke up, and then the third one it was just like so is that why? And I'm with you. I just because of the way it goes, and it's high school, and I don't necessarily know that Noah was in game. Like, how it starts, but how it starts, especially with Youngblood, doesn't necessarily have to be the way it ends. And I guess that's why I'm going to say that after the ending, I was kind of hoping that maybe, like, they spent maybe the first part of the movie, like when they do the recap and she's like, okay, I had this choice to make. I would have actually preferred seeing her life in college, like her at USC living on her own away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I got you.
And maybe if it gets back to the point what they alluded to, maybe catch up with her senior year or something, and maybe see how her and Noah kind of find their way back to each other, and how her and Lee kind of are in the process of rebuilding their friendship or something like that. But I don't know. It just seemed like it was trying to tell the same stealth story, just in a different way. I did kind of appreciate the shout out to some of the people who were in the first movie, at the end of summer party. But I don't know. It surprised me that I liked it better than the second one, but it still wasn't that great.
Yes. I agree with you on that. Um, I will say that, like I said before, I was very, very surprised, but the chemistry was completely off between Elle and Noah. I do think that the progression of the friendship between Lee and Elle, and the fact that they both had very, very selfish tendencies, would lead to the fact of if this was real life, I do not think their friendship would have survived. I
Yeah.
think their friendship would have ended when they went to separate colleges. Like they still would have talked every once in a while. When they came home, they still would have been cool, but they would not have been as close as the movie portrayed them to be at the end. No, that's not realistic based on based on the progression of their friendship. Their friendship would not have survived high school at all. They would not have been as close as they are. And the same thing goes for Noah and Elle. Like it's young love. It's your high school sweetheart. I definitely get that. But honestly, like your relationship is over. It's done. Like he's gonna go to Harvard, and you mean to tell me that 6 years later, and we're supposed to believe that she's still the love of his life when he has somebody that he had a better connection with? Eddie, look up this woman's name. he had a better connection with her, and for a minute I was just like, are they going to make her like a lesbian and she's actually in love with Elle? But
Yeah,
they
like
didn't
give
go.
her a purpose.
Yeah, they didn't do that route, and I'm like, I feel that they dropped the ball on her purpose. Like her purpose was to show the fact that Elle and Noah had run their course. Like I saw that. I felt that they had run their course. And so like at the end, when they come back, I'm like, yeah, you can be like, oh, the memories, like, we really had it good. But no, you ain't getting back together. No, you're not getting back together. All right. And it's just magically he gets two offers, one in New York and one in LA. Boy, give me a break.
Yeah, like her name was Chloe. So Macy
Chloe. There
Richardson
you go.
Sellers, and she plays Chloe. And I liked her character, and I'm with you. I understand if she's supposed to be Noah's version of Elle, which in the second one, that's how he referred to her. Like she's my you in the sense that we have kind of what you and Lee have, and I get that. I had
But there was never vibes between, like, I never saw the vibes between Lee and Elle.
right. Um, and I get that. Men and women, I'm not one of those people who don't think that men and women can be just friends and have platonic friendships. I've had that best platonic friend who was a guy, and so I understand that, and that's fine. But I'm with you. It always seemed, and maybe because of the chemistry was off and the timing coincided with Joey King and Jacob Elordi's real life breakup, that just some of the chemistry was off. But it did seem like that he and Chloe had more, because I think we talked about it. And again, I did not go back and listen to the second to the episode, but I think we talked about in the episode how it seemed like a cop out that's how they explained their chemistry, where their chemistry seemed more relationship bound or romantic between Noah and Chloe than it did like as friends.
Yeah.
And so like here, give her a purpose. Like maybe as they went back to school, or this was supposed to be the summer, I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. I think the third one would have been better served if we would have seen everyone in their different ways. Maybe Lee in his life at Berkeley a little bit, Elle in her life at USC a little bit, Joe, Noah at Harvard, how they kind of grew up without each other and the different people that came in and out of their lives. And then maybe at the end, have them meet up 6 years later and see the connection or something. Like, I don't know. The story was just blah. There's so many different ways they could have gone with it to make it better, especially if you're going to, at the end, make it seem like, that they are the great love of each other's lives and soulmates. Although I have to say, his character Noah is the one that seemed to have grown up. He's the one that showed the most progression throughout the whole series as far as growing up and maturing. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree, or
I mean, I can agree. I mean, I can believe that Elle and Lee are just as selfish as they've always been and immature.
yeah, like I said, I did like that she finally made decisions based on herself. She turned her love of video games into something. So I love that aspect of it, because I do remember quite vividly that was one of the things that we were so anti, or so we talked so much about during the first one, was just how everything was based on Noah and Lee. But I didn't see, like I said, I agree with you completely. I didn't see anything that would make me think that she and Lee would be best friends for life. Like, I have friends that I've been friends with since college. And then I have one friend who I've been friends with since we were 5. And that relationship has gone through the changes. Like, there was a time when I moved out of the city I was in, and we did not keep in touch, and then we reconnected in college because we just ended up at the same college, and we've been friends again ever since. But we didn't pick up from where we were when we were, like, when I moved away from that town and we were 13 years old. That's impossible. So I think I would have appreciated something like that more between her and Lee, because honestly, I didn't see why they were still friends.
Yo, me either. Me
Like,
either. Like you said, they were codependent on each other. It's a very, very, very toxic friendship that they had. Like, they always felt like they were in the wrong. Like, why do you want a friendship where you always feel like you're in the wrong?
if you're not putting that person who's not your lover, your boy, and even if you're even, and that would have made it worse if that was her boyfriend and she was always putting him first. Like, because what was it, the one time when she couldn't do that one thing because she had to work or do something with her brother, and he threw another tantrum, and it's like, what? And he's like, well, you're the one who wanted to do the stuff on this list and blah. And I'm like, dude, you see how many different fucking directions she's being pulled in? She has to work. She still wants to spend time with her boyfriend. She has to be there for her brother and her father, her family. She still has responsibilities for that. So, like, what are you thinking? Like, and I guess him showing up at her job where he wasn't getting paid to work, to help her out. I guess that was supposed to be his version of being an understanding friend or something.
But he still didn't understand why she really had to work. Like, it was never truly acknowledged on the fact of that she was not in the financial situation that Lee and Noah were in. Lee got everything, and she said it correctly in the end. He got everything that he ever wanted. Like, he was able to do that, and she wasn't. And it wasn't really acknowledged between them that I'm in a different financial situation than you. I really got to think this out. That's the reason why I did not agree with the whole her, like, dad just agreeing. Like, I feel like the decision of you going to college is not only a decision for you when you're in that financial situation, but it's a decision that needs to be made as a family, because who's affording Harvard?
Well, that's what he told her during the second one when Harvard came up. He said, "Look, because he kind of suspected. He was like, he knew because Berkeley was the quote unquote their childhood dream because that's where their moms met. So he told her, hey, I was prepared for Berkeley. He said, but Harvard, you're on your own. Like, that's something completely different, you know. And so, and might I just add, I'm still a little pissed that she didn't choose Harvard. Not necessarily that she didn't choose Noah, but that I just have a soft spot in my heart for Harvard. But
You do, but we gonna be on opposite ends because Harvard ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, that is so true. Like, I have a soft spot in my heart for Harvard, but I also have my blinders off when it comes to Harvard and a lot of the bullshit that goes on there. But so me, that person, the nerd in me, the intellectual in me was like, yeah, can't you go to Harvard and still not, and y'all don't have to be together if you go to Harvard. That was what I was thinking.
Well, she picked USC. I
She
thought that was a
did,
great choice.
I do too, which is still a damn good school, in the heart of South Central Los Angeles.
Although if you could get into Harvard, couldn't you have gotten into MIT? I'm just saying.
Thank you, which is right across the street. Y'all would see, you thinking it too. You're thinking it too. Y'all didn't have to see each other. They got from what I hear, now I may be talking out my ass when I say this, but I think they might be able to help her with coding and video games and stuff at MIT. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, when a school is named the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, I'm just saying maybe their focus is technology. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Maybe, coding video. Not to take anything away from USC, because again, that is also a damn fine school. But
it is, but it ain't MIT.
It ain't MIT.
Oh
But yeah, so what about Marcos? He's another one. Did they drop the ball on Marcos,
Yes,
or was he just not necessary?
they dropped the ball. Um, because you saw where, even as she was blind to the fact, because she was just so involved with Noah and Lee, she was blind to the fact that her and Marcos did have chemistry, and she liked him. She really did like him, and that's what kept him coming back, because he knew, he's like, you should give me a chance. Like, we have chemistry. Like, there's something here. But because she was just so involved with the Noah and Lee drama, that she didn't want to acknowledge that, especially since how Noah was so sensitive about Marcos, because he saw what Elle refused to see herself. I do think they dropped the ball. I'm gonna continue to say it, and I think we talked about this last episode. See, I remember something on the fact that I do feel that Marcos should have ended up at the same school as Elle.
Elle?
And we should have seen them actually trying. Now, if you want to end it with Elle and Noah, it could be like, why couldn't it have been like, ambiguous is the wrong word, but why couldn't it have been like how, okay, you're in a relationship, you and Marcos are in a relationship, and then it ends where we don't really know what's going to happen, right? So it could end where all of a sudden Noah shows up like he did at the fair or wherever they were. Noah shows up and it's kind of like them staring at each other, right? And you see like, oh shoot. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they still love each other. Like, I think that would have been a better ending on, she's in a relationship, or her and Marcos are like having that vibe going. And then all of a sudden at the end, Noah shows up, they're staring at each other, boom, hit black, and you good to go. Like, you could have done that. It may be a little cliche, but that would have worked better than the nonsense that you gave me at the end. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. If that, and I agree with you. Like, I loved Marco. Like, and the second one is like, we were, and I think it's just kind of conditioned, especially when you get these situations where you have in-game relationships and, teen young love and YA, and they're supposed to be together forever, but it rarely works out that way, that you ever get your first love is probably one of your greatest, but it's rare that your first love is always your in-game love. Um, and so, and in this case, if that's what if that's what happened after years apart, they realized that, oh, they had unfinished business, they still have that major chemistry, then I get that that's where you're going. But the way they did it here, it seemed like they did it just to wrap a nice little cute neat bow. Like, it all seemed too clean. Lee and Rachel getting back together, and I didn't get that either. I never got the sense of that. Like, I'm like,
Definitely not. But who else is gonna want to deal with Lee?
thank you, because and Rachel was just like, I've invested too much in this. His family he comes from money. He went to Berkeley. He's gonna make money. Okay, so that was an investment in her future, because even though she came to understand it, I get, like I said, I'm all for men and women being friends, but dude, I would have had to ask, have y'all fucked? Are y'all fucking? Because you keep putting this girl first above everything. Like, like, are you secretly in love with her? Like, that is the vibe I got from that.
Okay. I just remember when you said, are they fucking? The scene came up. They did have a kissing scene on the bed when they made up. Elle and
Okay.
Noah, I mean.
Okay.
I was trying to remember. I'm sorry. That,
That's
like, it
okay.
just popped in my head when you was talking about that. And I was just like, oh, wait. Yeah, they did have a makeout scene. Okay, the vibe was still off, but okay. I can recall they did have kissing scenes where they had to actually kiss. Yeah, like, everything else was just off. Like, the vibe and the relationships were very fake, in that it's not realistic on this actually happening in real life. So, and I think that goes for the whole entire story. I think it was like they wrapped it up with a bow, but then the bow was already coming apart by the time the movie ended anyway.
Yeah, because I was good with Lee and whatever her, not Chloe, but his girlfriend. What was her name? I just said it, and
Is it
then I forgot.
Natalie?
Rachel.
Rachel, whatever.
Yeah, I was good with him and Rachel's breakup, because it was the most realistic. Like, she's like, come on, let's be real. You know, who wants to live their college life like that? You're on one coast, I'm on the other, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It seemed, and I was like, oh, it's good. They didn't hate each other. It was a great breakup, mature and responsible. But I just didn't get them. I was like, ooh, girl, go be free. Go find you a man who's deserving of you.
Mm-hmm.
And
We'll
then it
put you
comes back
first.
and it's like they are. I'm like, oh God, no. But so what did you think about um the way Elle treated her dad's new girlfriend? I thought that was ridiculous.
It was so fake. Like, once again, is very cliche. Like, but
Like,
that goes towards her immaturity than anything else to me.
yeah, like um her mom, I understand her mom had passed away for a while. If you want, her mom had been gone for a while. Like even in the first one, we got the that her mom had passed away. Like what, when she was in middle school or something.
I don't remember, but yeah, that sounds about
But
right.
it'd been a while. So and now your dad is dating someone, and you just want to act like you're the woman of the house, or you want to be so like, yeah, I didn't get it. It seemed really, really cliche. And yeah, so all right. Anything else that you wanted to say about this one?
No, I mean, thank goodness it's over. Um, it was okay for a series. It wasn't to all the boys I've loved, like it wasn't on that level, but and there was way more growth into all the boys I've loved, than there was for this movie. But are you laughing at what I just said?
Yes, like you
Oh.
said, for this movie, not the
Yeah.
series, but this movie.
The other two goes without saying, but yeah. So overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. It's more on the level like a teen movie that you would just watch just because you watched the other two. So I got to finish it off. So I was entertained enough that I could focus on it. It hit me in some parts, and then I mean, it was alright. It was alright. What did you think of it, Eddie? Overall?
Um, I agree. It was better than the second one. It was better than I thought. And I remembered what you said as I was like, oh, and it did cross my mind. I was like, she did say we should take it off the list. Maybe I should have let her, because it was one of those where I really just had to hype myself up to watch it. And
Mm-hmm.
when I did watch it though, I was like, oh, okay, it was better than I thought. But it's not like I'll still go back and watch the first one, and then the first was like, oh, and then I just remember how disappointing the other two are, especially number two. And when I tried rewatching number two, I actually fell asleep on it. So and I haven't tried to rewatch number three. Maybe with some time, maybe next year when I'm feeling nostalgic or just bored, or
Don't do it,
just
Eddie.
I might rewatch the whole series just to see.
Why
Um, you
punish
know,
yourself? Why punish yourself?
I recently rewatched the whole Twilight series, which I'm still trying to get you to like. I think we should have a show about the Twilight series.
The silence of Tammy speaks
So
volumes.
that's not a no. Okay, I'm gonna still work.
That's a silent no. Like,
I'm going to continue. You didn't like Twilight?
fuck no. Who liked Twilight?
No one. That's
Exactly.
people did like. Twilight is one of those cult classics. Okay, it's kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where when it first came out, I was like, this is so bad. It's like, did you like the Twilight books?
I did, except for New Moon. New Moon was the movie was as boring as the book was.
New Moon is the second one, right?
Yeah, it
Oh
was the
yeah,
worst. It was the
it
worst of
was.
the series because it was
It
just
was the
all the
worst.
setup to like the big fight. So it was like a filler. It was
Yeah.
like a filler. So, and I understood that was a filler. So you knew you had to get through New Moon in order to get to Eclipse, in order to get to Breaking Dawn. I enjoyed the books more than the movies, but it's just like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the Twilight movies. Oh, look at this. This shows you like how we were really feeling Kissing the Booth because we're now talking about a whole.
I know. I was like, oh, maybe I'm sneaking in my Twilight. When we write me like Kissing Booth leads to Twilight discussion. Okay. Well, let's give Kissing Booth 3. So that just goes to show that there is something to talk about for Twilight. Think about it. I'm not gonna push the subject now. But Um, let's give this. Okay, to answer your question, I will be serious and answer your question. Um, I liked it overall better than the second one. If I had to rank them, it would be one, three, and then two. Would I recommend the whole series? Definitely not. I think in two they dropped the ball. Three they kind of picked it up a little bit, but it still could have been so much better. This seems like one of those things that they did just because the first one was so. This is how it seems to me. They didn't have a plan. The first one just took off and became this runaway hit, and they kind of wanted to continue milking that cow, but they had no actual clue in how to do it. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So
Yeah. I mean, but that happens. Like, are there three Kissing Booth books, or is it just an extension of the one book that they had?
I think there were actually two. I think she wrote the second one in conjunction with the second movie, and then the third book was coming out. The third book hadn't been planned until the movie. So,
Okay, gotcha.
but yeah, so I think it was all just based on the popularity of the first one, but there was no true cohesion about how to continue on the story or to make it. And I get the audience that you're selling it to, but also I don't think you're giving teens today enough credit for the reality aspects of it. You
I
know
agree
what I'm
with you on that.
so
They
but
may not
yeah.
have the best taste, but I feel like their taste is above what the Kissing Booth series gave us.
Yeah, especially after the first one. The first one was cute. The first one was good. And there's so many different ways you could have gone, especially with the third one and them growing up and telling different stories, and the cast also telling you some of the things that they wanted with the series or something, but I don't know. So we'll see. How would you rank? Okay, so we're gonna do two rankings overall. First, how would you rank the movie? Then I'm gonna ask you how would you rank the series as a whole?
The movie I'm gonna give a 2.25.
Okay.
Let me write that down. 2.25. And the series I'm gonna give a 2.25.
Okay. I am going to give the movie. I was just slightly higher than you on the movie. I'm giving the movie a 2.5,
Okay.
and I'm giving the series just because of my love of the first one. Um, I am giving the series a 2.75. I wanted to give it a 3, but the
Don't do
two
it.
was just, I couldn't. Two was just so bad. Three was a little bit better, but it wasn't enough to bring the whole series up to a 3. So I got about a 2.5, 2.5 popcorns for the movie and a 2.75 for the series. All right. So that does it, I believe, for this week's episode of Popcorn Wind Down, brought to you by our new sponsors for this episode. Once
Lip
again,
balm.
the Kissy Game and Juicy Joe's Lip Balm.
Juicy Joe's. Go ahead, Juicy Joe.
Please be sure to join us next time. Or, my bad, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just so excited that we got these sponsors. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date. You can also keep up to date on with the latest entertainment and pop culture news at the popcornwinddown.com. Officially coming back from vacay after Labor Day.
Woo!
Woo! And that's it. That's the plug. Pop, pop, pop. Still, we got sponsors, but I still ain't got no dang sound effect for my popcorn.
That sound real sad, Eddie. You need to go fix that.
Tammy, I'm trying.
I
Okay,
know you got to try harder than that, Eddie. You need to get that sound effect.
you're the executive in charge of the sound effects.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, you ain't never gonna get that sound effect.
I'm gonna continue to work on that. Well, thank you, and as always, be sure to join us next week. Oh, I forgot this week's song. I like the way. Oh, my bad. My voice wasn't warmed up. I caught that. I was a little off the key. Be sure to join us next week when we discuss He's All That. I'm excited for that one. Are you?
So
Okay.
I just watched it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about that next week, Eddie. Let's talk about
All
that next
right.
week.
Can't wait. Until next time, we'll see who our new sponsor for next week's episode will be. Until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Bye. Peace.